Okay, here's the thing, okay? As comedians, right? Our only agenda, okay, is to make you laugh. That's all we care about, the laugh. Money also, but mostly the laugh, you know? So we tell you a joke, you laugh, we feel happy. We tell that joke again and again and again, all over the country, all over the world, until eventually we will record that joke, put it out there on the internet, and then a few years later, that same joke that all of you laughed at is pissing people off. Here's what happened, okay? There's a comedian in the Indian comedy scene, and he has a special on Amazon Prime, okay? And in this special, there is a joke about reservation. Everybody familiar? Yeah? Reservation, for those of you who don't know, is affirmative action by the government of India aimed towards uplifting marginalized communities, most of who are people who are victims of the caste system. Right? So South Africa had apartheid, America had slavery, India was feeling left out. You know? So yeah, we needed a thing, you know? Now, to joke about this is a little bit of a tricky space, but this guy did it. He released the special online, and somebody watched that special, and when they saw that joke about reservation, they got really angry, and they gathered a mob online, because the Wi-Fi was really good. And the mob started chanting, "This comedian is a casteist comedian. This comedian must apologize." You know, because if there's one way to end thousands of years of systemic oppression, it's by asking a comedian to say sorry. This comedian's notifications started blowing up. He's like, "Why are people tagging me in all these posts? What is going on?" And the crowd just went, "Mr. Comedian, you have a special on Amazon Prime, and in that special, there is a joke about reservation. It's not funny. It's casteist. Say sorry." And that comedian is like, "I have a special on Amazon Prime?" That's how long it's been. This guy had to then watch his own special just to be sure of what he was apologizing for. And he then said sorry. And here's another thing I've observed about the mob, okay, online. Their only agenda, no matter what they claim, their only agenda is to make somebody apologize. Yeah. That is all they care about. And here's how I know. Have you ever seen any follow-up tweets? After the outrage has died down? Have you ever seen a tweet saying, "Mr. So-and-so, it's been 6 months, what are your views on gender pronouns?" Oh. Never happens. They just want that apology, and that's exactly what happened here. But now they have to leave him alone because he has apologized, you know? But the Wi-Fi is still good. So here's what the mob does, okay? They gather everybody in a huddle. They're like, "All right, guys, come here. Let's see who else has done similar jokes." And then they go on a treasure hunt, digging through social media. And when they find somebody, they go, "Pikachu! Abish Matthew, say sorry!" And I'm like, Abish? Out of all the people in the Indian comedy scene that have said shit in the last 10 years, Abish. I mean, you guys know this. Abish Matthew is one of the nicest guys in Indian comedy, right? Jesus Christ. Even Jesus was like, "Abish?" So I found this whole thing very funny. I found it funny how we told you a bunch of jokes, you laughed, and then we put those jokes online, and the same jokes are pissing people off. So I wanted to do a joke about that observation. So I posted another joke. Because, Mumbai, I never learn. A very harmless joke. All I said was this: I would like to apologize for all my jokes from 2021 that you may find offensive in 2031. Mob reached my phone. They're like, "Daniel Fernandez is a casteist comedian." And I'm like, "No, Daniel Fernandez is a Catholic comedian." Oh, yeah. Yeah. And let me just say this, okay? As a Catholic, I don't understand the caste system. Okay? I don't get this complex human Jenga that you play. And not because I don't care. It's just that growing up, I've never been exposed to this. Nobody ever spoke to us about it, okay? As adults, yes, people are speaking to us now, but they're doing it in a language called yelling. And we all know how well that works. And also, as a Catholic, I don't have time for the caste system or anything else for that matter, because most of my days are spent managing inventories of rice. Yeah, I understand that joke requires some context, yes. I will provide it, right? Now, this may come as a shock to you, but minorities in India are being oppressed. Yeah, you know this is true, right? And with the Muslims especially, they're not even hiding it anymore. It's very brazen. If you're a Muslim and you live in India, you watch the fuck out, right? But there are other minorities also. So with the Catholics and the Christians, they're at that stage of genocide that I call the warming up. Yeah? It's the name calling. They're just warming up. They're like, all right, let's fucking do that. Name calling is the first step of genocide. And I don't know if you've noticed this, but on the internet, a lot of Catholics or Christians are being called Ricebags. That's a religious slur that's been floating around in the internet in the last couple of years. Now, as a comedian, I appreciate a good insult. I respect the effort that goes into trying to destroy somebody's soul. So if I hear a good insult, I will doff my hat and say, yes, that was really good. But when somebody called me a rice bag for the first time, I was really confused. I didn't know if it was an insult or an invitation to lunch. I was like, what is this, like some bring your own rice party? I couldn't understand. But then I figured it out, okay? I understood. Right? I did some digging and I read this on the internet, so it has to be true. Now, apparently, a lot of people in this country are convinced that hundreds of years ago, everybody in India belonged to one religion. I'm not going to say which one. Apparently, it's the one that's in danger. Yeah, I'm just saying. They are convinced that everybody belonged to this religion. And then Christian missionaries showed up to India, and some people left this religion and joined Christianity, allegedly in exchange for bags of rice. So, to remind us of the treachery that was committed all those years ago when we did not exist, we are now being called rice bags. Right? Now again, a good insult is like a gun, which works best when aimed in the right direction. Now, if you're somebody from this religion, and you apply this logic, and you call a Christian or a Catholic a rice bag, what you're doing is you're taking that gun and you're turning it on yourself. I'll explain, okay? Now, so just hypothetically, if your mom left your dad for a few bags of rice, who would you ask questions of? Your mom or your dad? I mean, what kind of an asshole was your father? How was he treating her? What was he saying to her? No, you can't eat at the same table as me. You can't drink the same water as me. No, you can't enter the temple when you're on your period. I don't know what. I don't know. I'm just saying, hypothetically, I'm not saying this has happened. I'm saying, hypothetically, how did your dad treat your mom, where all it took for her to leave him was the promise of biryani?
आगे बढ़ रुक मत थक मत आगे बढ़ यही तो साला गेम है ये गेम है रुक मत थक मत आगे बढ़ यही तो साला गेम है रुक मत थक मत आगे बढ़